What's up, sweet love, sweet baby? How's your dating life? Are you feeling desperate enough to hire a matchmaker? Uh-oh. Better listen to this week's show. Welcome to Ask for Candy, love and life coaching delivered straight up like your best friend would if she were a licensed and certified mental wellness professional. If you don't know me yet, I'm Candace Harper, relationship coach and hypnotherapist, and I'm here to support you with feeling epic, enough, peaceful, illuminated, and courageous in every area of your life, but particularly your love life, whether you're single or not. I'm also here to teach all of us how to vibe high and manifest the sweetest possible love in this lifetime. I'm here to teach you how to ask for candy and to get it. If you've got something to say about what you hear, email me your comments and questions, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok @CandyLoveCoach. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. Leave a review so I can shout you out. And share with the friends and family that you know will benefit from this spoonful of sugar. Now let's get started. Hey, everybody. I don't know how I feel about that last part of the new intro, this spoonful of sugar. I don't know. Y'all have to tell me if it sounds a little bit corny, if it sounds a little like I listened to it again right before I started recording. And I was like, am I trying to sound like somebody's southern auntie who makes sweet potato pie? You know, this spoonful of sugar. Like, who am I? Who am I trying to be? I'm not Paula Deen. Definitely not Paula Deen. Anyway, I digress already. The show's barely started. I'm already digressing. But today's topic, before you hire a matchmaker. So before you go digging deep into those coffers, before you go pulling out that wallet, those credit cards, you got to listen to this show because y'all know, those of you who've been listening know that I used to be in the matchmaking industry. And you know, I dip and I dabble. I still have close friends who are very much involved in the matchmaking industry and identify as matchmakers. We get to identify who we are these days, right? So identify as matchmakers. And so because I am, and also I'm partnering with matchmakers right now. But here's the thing. I'm only partnering with certain matchmakers, certain ones that are of high integrity, because just like many service industries that charge premium prices, there can be a lot of disparities and there can be a lot of lack of integrity, because when it comes to getting that coin, some people are willing to compromise what they say they believe in. And, you know, it's an easy thing to do. It's a common thing to do. We live in a capitalistic society. Everybody wants to make that money, honey. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. But a lot of people aren't fully aware that your abundance comes from your alignment with integrity and your willingness to be patient for how that pays off. A lot of people feel like, you know, I don't care if I throw things out the window, if I compromise what is really integrity, what is really in alignment with core values, as long as I'm making that coin. And it's a very fine line that people walk, because when it comes to making sales, sometimes people will tell tales. Anyway, so before you hire a matchmaker, I figured it would be good to have a conversation about what are the things that you want to be aware of, what are the things that you want to know to do, and just to be able to judge for yourself whether you're even ready to take a step like that. And by ready, I don't mean that it's some sort of advanced level. It is a certain mindset that if you don't have it approaching it, it's not going to be a good experience for you, and you're going to feel like you've wasted a lot of your money if you can't approach it with this mindset. I've only seen, you know, granted, I wasn't a matchmaker for very long. I want to say it was about two years, a little over 2 years. But I saw a very, very small percentage of people who were able to approach the process of paying someone to vet your love, vet your dates. A very small percentage came with a mindset that caused them to have success. And their success didn't always necessarily come from a matchmaker bringing them their perfect person. You know, I had a really great client who she ended up finding someone while she was in the process. And because she was so actively in the process, she was a clearing, an open space for love to come into her life. And I did not match her with the love that she found. She found him on her own. Because I don't care what anybody tells you, matchmakers, no matter how long they've been doing it, they just may have some more practice in putting people together. You do learn as you go, but nobody has a magic wand. Nobody can guarantee your soulmate. And hopefully there's nobody out there who's promising that, because I think that would really cross the line. But it's really about being able to be in a process that will attract what it is that you want. And it may not, it's not a transaction where, when you go to a store, you hand them your money, they hand you, the Carmen Marc Valvo skirt that you wanted. Like, it doesn't work like that, right? So it's really more that you're buying an experience. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Let me go through, because I had to sit and make some notes. Let me just go through my notes, honey. All right, so before you hire a matchmaker, let's just go through some of the things, the checklist, and hopefully you have a notebook where you can be writing these things down. Also, I'll give you ways to get in touch with me if it's something that you want to talk about further. But the first thing is to get your money right. Make sure that your money is right and on point. So you may be somebody who makes a whole lot of money. However, if you are not really clear about where your money goes and why and what its purpose is, you will find yourself probably in a high state of anxiety for the amount of money that, depending on how much money you bring in, how much income you have, there's varying prices. And some of these salespeople with these matchmaking companies really know how to hone in on what your income level is compared to what you can spend. And they're going to get you to try to spend as much as they can. There's very few, I think some of the bigger places that really adhere to a set list of prices for a long period of time. But some of these smaller ones, they raise the prices randomly, willy-nilly, whenever they feel like it as they go along for, however they want to. And if a salesperson is good enough, they will get you to max out, feeling that you're getting, whatever they're calling a premium service. So you want to just be aware that it's just like gambling. It's a gamble. You may walk away without a soulmate, and it's highly likely that you will walk away without a soulmate. Now, that doesn't mean you won't meet one sometime in the near future, or that you won't meet one somewhere else in the process. But the likelihood that you're going to find your person through that process directly, like I said, directly through whoever you're working with, it's a small percentage that actually do. So you have to know that you do not want to spend what you cannot afford to lose. It's just like investing in crypto or, on Wall Street. Do not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. If it's going to be devastating, if it's going to cause you agita. In my last days in matchmaking, I had a client who, she was a pretty good earner, but she had invested an amount of money that made her very, very anxious and nervous. So it made her process very difficult because she really needed to get her money's worth in order to justify the amount of money that she spent. And if you're in that mindset, you will have a warm, uncomfortable time working with a matchmaker because, like I'll say later, I'll talk about how hard it is to get any money back, right? So do not spend what you cannot afford to lose. Realize that you are not actually buying a partner. You're not buying a soulmate. So, that sounds so rudimentary and so easy, like, oh yeah, I already know that, Candace, duh. But you'd be surprised how many people go into hiring a matchmaker thinking that, they're just going to get their person out of it. And no, you wouldn't be surprised. Let me take that back. I mean, the salesperson, without outwardly telling you that, leads you to believe that. Because no one can say, we have your soulmate. No one's going to come out and say that, that there's liability issues. You can't make promises that you cannot keep. They'll tell you all the things about, well, we have such high quality people and we're going to bring you all the most high quality people. And so, if you're open, then you will likely find someone that you want to be with, right? That's basically what they're going to sell you. But you have to realize that the money that you're spending is not for a partner. And that's the hardest part about it, because it seems so simple, right? Well, why am I going to this person if they're not going to find me my partner, my exact partner? Love doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And I do think that matchmaking with integrity is valuable. because it can take a person on a journey. If they're open, if they're willing, it can take them on a journey of exploration that will likely find them experiences, and a small percentage of them actual love with another person. So it does have its value, but you want to just be really awake to what that value is. Because if you're putting your money in and you're expecting the value to be something different, you'll be sorely disappointed. And so ultimately, what you're buying is an experience that might get you a partner. Might. And if I were to put a percentage on it, and like I said, I wasn't a matchmaker for that long, but I've known enough matchmakers and I got the gist of how it works. But if I could put a percentage on it, I would say it's got to be less than 10, maybe around 5% of people actually find someone who is a sustainable, viable person. If you look across the entire industry, and the frequency of when there's actually what they some of the companies call them love couples, which whatever, I mean, such a oxymoron, not an oxymoron, but such redundancy, right? Like a love couple, well, that's the point. Like, yeah, it's a love couple. Anyway, if they do actually find someone they're compatible with, that's sustainable, that is a real relationship, that is a small percentage of the people that actually hire a matchmaker that come away with that sort of thing. So what you're buying is an experience of, breaking out of a rut of not going on dates. Getting yourself comfortable with meeting different people and being open to getting to know different people and understand different people in order to expand your journey. Being able to relinquish control. So it's a very, if you approach it in that way, it can be a very transformational experience. If you have that approach and if you have the right matchmaker, right? You need somebody who understands all those things as well. And that's a whole nother thing, because there's a lot of people out there who are matchmakers who don't necessarily understand that emotional value in the process. They just go by what they're told to do by the company, which is make these matches happen. We don't want to be liable for not giving people what we say that we're going to give them. Make sure they happen every month. Make sure these people are going out on dates. So that's what most matchmakers, that's their mentality. If you are lucky enough, fortunate enough to run across a matchmaker who understands the emotional paradigm of what they are doing for you, what you will get is a journey of transformation. You will get an adventure, an opportunity to open yourself up to maybe an experience you never had before. If you're someone who doesn't date well, a matchmaker would benefit you, not because they're going to bring you the person so you don't have to date anymore, but because they're going to put you through the experience of dating, but dating with some level of support, hopefully a lot of support. Dating with someone backing you who can say, oh, well, we can talk about this. Let me help you out with that. Let me give you some tips. And if you're somebody who feels like they just want to expand their horizons, and there's people that they want to meet that they might not necessarily be able to meet otherwise. Now, with this, you have to vet very carefully, because there's a lot of companies out there who just have a bunch of regular people. And nothing wrong with regular people, but when they're promising that you're going to meet millionaires and things like that, you got to be careful of that. But if that's one thing you're interested in, is expanding who you can reach and who you have access to, then okay, it makes sense. It makes sense that you're getting a matchmaker, and that's the experience that you're paying for, right? So you want to go in eyes wide open. That if I'm investing this money, first of all, I'm investing this money that I can afford to lose. That if I lose it, it won't kill me. If I'm investing what I'm investing in is the possibility, the remote possibility of meeting a soulmate, but the big possibility of transformation, exploration, and adventure, getting back into practice with dating people, learning how to date in an effective, positive way, right? And then the third thing that you want to know about getting your money right when it comes to the possibility of hiring a matchmaker is you have to understand that your financial investment is the smallest fraction of your overall investment. So like all the things I was talking about as far as it being a transformational experience, the money that you spend, I won't even say that it's half of the investment. that you make when you go through this process if you want to have success with this process, right? And again, I can't repeat it enough. Success with this process is not always meeting somebody that you're going to stay with, and it's rarely meeting somebody that you're going to stay with. Success with this process is opening yourself up to something that you never would have otherwise, and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, meeting new people, and being in a place when it's over that you can say, I am now open and ready for love, and I'll be able to recognize my soulmate. I'll be able to be in a relationship because now I know how to be loving, unconditional, accepting. I know how to do all of the things that are required to actually mate with somebody long term, right? Or at least some of the things to start it off. That would be success. And in order to have that success, you want to recognize that the money that you spend is the smallest fraction of your investment. I had a woman who was a client in her 60s who, was a successful investor and an artist. And, her expectation that she was going to get the blueprint of the man that she wanted for the money that she spent was astronomical. And she was continually disappointed. She tried to maintain a positive outlook. I will give her that, most definitely. But her mindset was such that I paid my money, I need my man. And a lot of the older women tend to have that even stronger. And so with that mindset, with that paradigm, that is a surefire way to have a very difficult, uncomfortable, contentious matchmaking experience, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's like winning the lottery. If you consider the success being, I'm a 60-plus-year-old woman, 50-plus-year-old woman, even a 40-plus-year-old woman, and I have a list of requirements that I need, and I'm going to pay this money and have someone who fits most of them, if not all of them, and wants to be with me, and we create a sustainable long-term relationship, you're talking about winning the Powerball. And I can almost guarantee you that in the entire matchmaking industry, there is such a small amount of people who win the Powerball of that kind of success. Now, like I was saying before, if you're talking about success as transformation, then you understand why your financial investment would be the smallest fraction of what you're doing when you start this process. So that's just the first part, getting your money right. Next part, get your mind right, which is also very attached to getting your money right. But certain things that you have to realize in this process, if you decide to endeavor into this process, that your partnership, your relationship, how you show up in your love life, the moment you start a matchmaking process, the moment you start a coaching process, when clients work with me in a coaching process around their love life, the moment you ask for support and have someone come into your life, you are already practicing partnership. You are in the practice of your love life. You are engaged in your love life. And I know that sounds esoteric, because what do you even mean? If my partner is not there, if the man or woman that I want is not standing in front of me, how am I engaged in my love life? Well, who you be with yourself and with others that are there to support you around having what you want are all part of your love life. They're all part of your love life. The energy you show up with, the beliefs that you form, the things that you learn, the tactics that you use, all of that stuff. Your relationship with your matchmaker and the way you show up in it is exactly how you show up for your love life. And so, if you're someone who gets frustrated easy, if you're someone who's impatient, if you're someone who, is highly critical and judgmental, I can bet every single dime I will make my entire life that is how you have been in your past relationships as well. So a lot of times people will pay all the money, hire a matchmaker, and show up with all the same unworkable behaviors that they've been showing up with in the love life that wasn't working in the first place, which is why they hired a matchmaker. Right? So sit on that for a little bit, swallow that up, let that sink into you. Your relationship with your matchmaker and the way you show up is exactly how you show up for your love life. But the beautiful thing about that is that it empowers you. You are now empowered to know that you can show up in that partnership in the same way that you want your love life to look. So if I want to be committed and engaged and positive and have loving, warm, fuzzy feelings and going with the flow and feeling loved and cared for and having a good, positive, feel-good experience, that's something I have to know how to generate if I want that from a love partner. And so I get to practice that. I get to practice that with a coach, with a therapist, with a matchmaker. I get to practice those things. Now, that doesn't mean that I can never be upset or I can never be sad. Sometimes it can be frustrating, that I can never feel impatient. But I gotta know that how I manage those things, I'm getting an opportunity to practice managing them in a healthy way so that I can have that soulmate, that relationship, that love that I want. If I don't know how to manage those things, I got no business being in a relationship. If you can't manage your patience, if you don't know what to do when it comes to patience, and I dealt with a lot of impatient matchmaking clients, right? My coaching clients, it's a whole nother story. They come impatient, but not around the coaching. They get that what they are there for is exploration, transformation, and to nurture and love themselves. Matchmaking clients, on the other hand, completely oblivious to all of that. So come with impatience, come with their anger, come with their hair trigger temper, when things don't look exactly how they want them to look. All of that stuff, that's that stuff that has kept you single for a long time. That's that stuff that had the past relationships break up. All those behaviors, that's the stuff that's making it so love doesn't work. And so if you show up like that with a matchmaker, if that's where your mind is at, that is exactly what you're going to get from that person as well. Right? That's exactly what your experience, your adventure is going to be like. Exactly what your love life has always looked like. And so you're going to get the exact results that you've always gotten. Just because you now have a matchmaker or proxy doesn't mean that they're going to be able to overcome all of the stuff that you haven't healed. Right? Clean up all those old sabotaging beliefs. Do not, my precious loves, my sweethearts, please do not give anyone 4, 5, 6 figures of your money, whether it was hard-earned or inherited. Do not do that until you have cleaned up all of your sabotaging beliefs, until you have done the healing work, until you have cleared all of your preconceived notions about what is and isn't good enough, all of your judgments, all of your past hurt, your victimization, you're feeling like, I have a client, I often bring her up because she was such an amazing transformation. She came to me as the bad relationship girl. Every person she'd ever been with was a villain, but she was innocent. And we did some really strong healing work so that she could get powerful around her life and stop being at the consequence, at the victimhood of what she believed about others. There was a lot of trauma and things that needed to be healed, things that we needed to work on. So you want to clean up all of that, all those old beliefs, all those unworkable beliefs. If you have not done that work and you go and give all your money to a matchmaker, you're going to be so frustrated, because there's nothing that they're going to be able to do to surpass that which you have not healed. I had a client, she paid for her whole package, paid for premium and, dug in the pockets, and then was a no-show. Didn't want to send pictures for her profile. Didn't want to, get on calls to talk about possible dates. Didn't want to show up for the dates. Didn't want to really vet any of the dates when you showed her anybody or suggested anybody to her. Didn't want to engage with it at all because there were sabotaging beliefs that she had not cleared, had not cleaned up. And so if you just go to a matchmaking company, and they will definitely take your money, a lot of them, they don't care, they'll take that money. And you can be resistant as you want to be. They'll just keep pushing. You got to go out with this person. You got to go out with this person. You got to go out with this person. And their goal is to meet the contract so that they are not liable, so that you can't turn around and say, oh, I want my money back. That's their goal, especially if you're resistant or if you've got any sort of emotional problem standing in your way. So you want to have all those emotional problems cleared out of your way so you can absolutely make the most of what you have paid for. And then another thing for getting your mind right, you got to throw out that list of external must-haves, like lose that list. And yes, they will ask you, what do you want? What do you desire? Get connected to what is meaningful around that. Now, I have done a ton of shows, and I also do this in my coaching work, of how to understand core value matching, how to get in alignment with who you truly are, how to be all of those things that you say you want on your list in a way that is connected and, humane and non-expectant. Like, we develop these lists of what we want, and then there's this expectation that I can look at a person, talk to a person for a few minutes, and be able to decide and decipher whether they fit into my external list, with the assumption that my list is going to have me happy. And so that is one of the biggest myths, the biggest bill of goods that we are sold. When you go into the matchmaking industry, what they know to do is to ask you what you want and ask for that list. And then, make the unspoken promise that we're looking for someone who matches everything on your list. And then if there's a struggle in looking for someone, then we're trying to massage and coax you out of wanting everything on your list. And then there's that dance of like, well, I know he doesn't have this, but he has this. Try that, just go out with him. Because like I said, ultimately their goal is to make sure you fulfill your contract, make sure you go out on those dates. So when you're still walking around with that external list of must-haves, trust that most of the people that you're going to meet through a matchmaker or through anywhere, even on the dating sites, is only going to hit about 3 to 5 of your requirements at best. And I know there's people out there who will say, well, when I met my man, he met all of my requirements. And that is absolutely fantastic. But here's the thing about that. A lot of times we forget what we evolve into. A lot of times we forget that it wasn't some magical, mystical thing. And you do not want to get into a conversation of compare and despair. As we get older, if you want what you want, there has to be a willingness to say, who is this person at their core? What is truly important in the long run? I want to feel loved. I want to feel accepted. I want to feel connected. And so someone can come with all those external things that you want and still not be able to make you feel any of those things, or you are incapable of feeling all those things for that person. So keep in mind that external list of must-haves and the expectation that because I paid my money, I need to have it, is going to be exactly what sabotages your experience if you hire a matchmaker. And that's just the mind part. All right, we're going to take a little bit of a break, a little commercial break to hear from our sponsor. And I'll be right back. However, if you approach it in a loving way and choose that you're going to like everyone that you meet, not that you're going to attach to them as your possible soulmate, but that you're going to like them. You're going to see God in them. You're going to be open to the loving exchange that can happen even if they are not your person, and they likely are not your person. You're going to be cool with them. You're going to be open. You're not going to have some sense of pressure for who they have to be because you paid your money. You got to be able to forgo all of that. That's what I'm saying. You really want to think about before you spend money on this, whether you can be in a mindset that you can just let that money go and not make your experience about what you've paid. Because I can tell you 9 times out of 10, when a matchmaking client is dissatisfied, they go back to how much money they spent. Because some of these matchmaking salespeople are really good at what they do, and they can get a whole lot of money out of people. And so when that person is not getting what they want and more time is going by, they go back to the amount of money that they spent every time. Every time that becomes the topic. So you want to be able to approach this in a loving way, knowing, like I was saying earlier, that those external desires are probably not going to immediately be met, but it's just about, I can love you anyway. I don't have to be sexually attracted to you. I don't have to date you. I don't have to make you my person. I'm on this adventure, this exploration. And I often say too, you never know who's going to actually be the conduit to your person. So when you're in this process, if you can get your heart right and just say, I'm just going to be loving with everybody, sometimes you might meet the brother of the person that you're meant to be with. Or, you might meet someone who works with the actual person you're meant to be with because you have been authentic and transparent and kind and compassionate. And I'm throwing out core value words because you have aligned with things that are important to you as a human being in order to be loved and accepted. What you have connected to is someone who wants to see you succeed as well, because you've provided for them a comfortable experience because they feel comfortable being themselves. And even though you may not be compatible with each other, they are on the team of wanting to see you have happiness. If they feel that from you, you'll get that back from them. So it's all about the energy that we bring. And I know some of you skeptics are out there, oh no, I go in so positive and then, it turns around and they're a dick or whatever. I'm not buying it. Yeah, there are people out there that are not very nice people, 100%. But I'll tell you this, when you are vibing on a high level and your energy is such that you believe in that what you want is wanting you, and you believe that love is out there for you, and you are willing to forgo attachment and forcing and expectation. When you're willing to forgo those things, it frees up the whole situation. And even someone who is not that great of a person will often try to show you their best. And when we can recognize that someone is trying to show us their best, we get the best out of that person. All you got to do is recognize it. And I'm telling you this from a place of experiencing it myself every day. When I acknowledge that someone is trying to show me their best, I get the best from people that I deal with. When I don't, I don't. Right? But we can't be in a place of being able to acknowledge that if we're not willing to just be loving with everybody. And that doesn't mean let people take advantage of you. That doesn't mean do things that you don't want to do or compromise yourself. You can be a compassionate no. You can be a kind no. You can be a firm no and still be loving towards people. You can just be authentic about what you feel and what you're aligned with, what you're committed to, what you're feeling for that other person. And you can say it in a way that is honest and caring and have a different experience than I'm attached to you not being what I want, and because you're not what I want, I'm going to get an attitude, or I'm going to be disappointed, or I'm going to consider this to be a sucky time, or I'm going to drink too much because I can't even deal with the fact that I'm wasting my time with someone who's not good enough for me, which is often the attitude after I have spent, upwards of $25,000 to meet this person who I could have met on Bumble. That's another thing you'd hear a lot. I could have met this person on Tinder. I could have met this person on Bumble. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. So you want to think about, all this money that I spent, and I'm here I am with the same attitude that I would have if I was on a dating site. And so of course I'm getting the same results. Right? And again, what matchmaking is selling you is an experience of giving up control, an experience of going on an adventure, right? They're not, matchmakers aren't God. They're not magic. They don't have magic wands. They're not going to make your soulmate appear. They're just going to give you opportunities to meet new people, right? So then number 2 about getting your heart right, and I mentioned this before, foregoing the criticism and judgment. So the criticism and judgment comes out in a lot of ways in the matchmaking process. And what would often happen, when I was doing it, is that you'd have, especially if there were clients around my age, is, I want to sit and kiki and girlfriend you up and talk about how bad this date was. Because they didn't want it to feel like they were saying I didn't do a good job, because they wanted to keep that relationship. And I understood that. But they also still wanted to sit in this sort of judgment criticism zone because that's what felt comfortable. He didn't meet my expectations. Here's all the things that were wrong with him. If you're going into a matchmaking process, trying to make your matchmaker your homegirl who you kiki with and make fun of the people that you date, and do what you normally do with your girlfriends, which is, maybe go out on dates and then talk badly about somebody who wasn't great. And I've done this. Don't think that I'm saying this in a judgmental way, because this is what kept me single for so long, previously. I mean, this last round of singlehood was about healing. But previous to that, before I was in relationships, there was definitely, moments of just making so much fun of people that I was going out with. And being in that mind space of being so judgmental and so critical that none of them stood a chance. And then once I made fun of them with my girlfriends enough, once I talked enough crap about them, and I wasn't doing this consciously and intentionally. I'm not saying that you're out there trying to be mean, but it's something that we do when we set up an expectation, we get disappointed, and then we want to vent about it, or we want to rant about it, or we want to joke about it. And some of us are out there extremely funny, talking about the disappointments in our dates. So it's a fun, self-validating way to, get out that energy, but also to stay single, because it has you stand in your own way. And a good matchmaker is not going to let you stand in your own way. She's actually there for your good. She's actually there for you to find somebody. So she's not going to want to let you just rant about how horrible somebody is. Now, that's not to say that you won't meet people who I don't want to say that they can be horrible. Because you're just, these are just random people that they're finding. Sometimes they're people who have pedigrees and degrees and all of the sort of external stuff, but that's no guarantee that they're not going to be a horrible person, or that they're not going to be someone of low character, or they're not going to be someone who's just not right for you. Right? But, someone who's a good matchmaker, they're not going to let you just sit and vent and go on and on and on about that person. They're going to say, well, what did work? What's the feedback about it? And, how can we go forward? But you want to know that, if you're healed in your heart, see, the moment we start criticizing and judging someone else, whatever healing we've done, whatever transformation we've done, it's like we're sucked right out of it. Because if you're focused on what's wrong with someone else, we can't focus on what's wrong with someone else without coming from the space of what we feel is wrong within us. Because it's fear talking. Like, oh, that person's not meeting my expectations. They're not behaving in the way that I would like for them to behave. They're, I see all of these red flags. That's all my fear talking. Well, I dealt with that before. I know that shouldn't be like that. He like all of that stuff. It's like a moot conversation. And I'm not saying that you can't acknowledge and notice when someone's not right for you, but still be in acceptance of it. So this is the type that this person was rude to the waiter. I don't necessarily see myself sustainable with somebody who's rude to people on any level. But I can still be okay with the fact that whatever your story is has you being that way, and relinquish any need to attach to you. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Number 3, for getting your heart right, be in therapy. Get yourself a coach through the process. Make sure you actually have a coach, not just your matchmaker. Most matchmakers are not coaches, even the ones that often claim it. If they're not putting you through a curriculum, they're just basically giving you dating advice, which is fine. They do have a level of experience with that and putting people together and what happens after dates and things like that. But if they're not actually trained as a coach putting you through a curriculum, you need a coach. You need someone who's actually coaching you. And many matchmakers call themselves coaches because they've been matchmaking for a while, which that's great, but that's not really coaching, giving you advice. And they do have a level of knowledge, but if they're not, like I said, taking you through a curriculum, you're not getting coaching. It's just advice based on their experience, right? And so in order to get your heart right, you need to be working with someone who knows how to take you through your paces of healing the past, loving yourself unconditionally, and starting your love life over from a clean slate every moment starting over, right? And surprise, surprise, guess what? That's what I do as a coach. Heal the past, love yourself unconditionally, and start your love life over from a clean slate. If you cannot do that, if you have not done that, please, by all means, my sweethearts, do not spend your money. Do not give your money to anyone until you have figured out those things, until you have healed the past. You love yourself unconditionally. Love yourself unconditionally. Not just, I put myself in aromatherapy baths and I go get massages and I know when to take a nap. I accept all of my flaws and I honor my own abilities. And I know who I am. I align with who I am. I am clear on my core values and I know how to align with them. And I am not expecting for the world, the outside world, to be a certain way in order for me to be happy with myself. I am not looking for some sign of enoughness. I don't have to have a good-looking man so that everybody knows that I can get a good-looking man and, it's a badge on my ego. I don't have to have certain external things in place in order for me to be happy, because I know that those external things aren't going to make me happy if I can't already make myself happy. It's okay to want someone who is a complement to your life, who brings ease into your life, 100%. But I don't have to assume that because you don't have a college degree that you're not going to bring ease into my life, right? I don't have to be in that exercise of chess piecing people in and out of my life and trying to figure out who is and isn't good enough. I just have to align with who I am. When I'm willing to do that, and it takes a lot of faith, it takes a lot of strength, it takes a lot of healing to be able to do that. When I'm aligned with who I am, my energies attract exactly what I want. It can't help it. They attract exactly what I desire as long as I stay in alignment and belief, right? So that's what it's all about, being able to get to that place. I don't care about the money. I can give you the money. I can stay in alignment and belief, and I can enjoy this process. That's the only way you're going to have a good matchmaking process. Now, here's the other thing: vetting stringently. So if you've decided that you are in that place, and if you're one of my clients and has worked with me, it's likely that you are in that place if we've done a full a full round together. But if you've decided, I'm already there, Candace, I already got you. Thank you, Coach Candace, for those words, but I got it, honey. I don't need you. I got this. I want you to vet very stringently when it comes to these matchmaking companies. So just like many service industries that charge premium prices, corruption exists. There are companies out there that are misrepresenting the quality of their database, and quality I put in quotes because they're, we're saying quality because they're rich, or quality because they're tall or good looking, or whatever. That can be grossly misrepresented for the amount of what's in their database. Some of them are charging for coaching, and there's no actual professional coach. It's just you may get some more time with your matchmaker, who is not likely a professional coach. Some of them are, but you can ask for that certification. You can ask for that information. I mean, not all coaches are certified, but you can ask, like, if they are actually trained in coaching. Will there be a curriculum? Will there be work for you to do? And you may not want to do work, but you got to do work, honey, if you're not really ready. So you want to ask those questions. If they're offering you coaching, does this mean she sits on the phone with me for half an hour and tells me what to wear on the date, or tells me what I can and cannot say, which none of that is coaching. That is like, that book, The Rules. It's like dating rules and stuff like that. That, to me, that's a waste of time. But if they're going to say, oh, we're charging you an extra $5,000, $10,000 because you're going to have a coach, then who's my coach? Is my matchmaker qualified to be my coach? And if not, is there a qualified coach who's going to teach me a curriculum and actually take me through my paces? Right? So you want to vet that. You want to be really clear. Don't spend any extra money for coaching unless you know that that's going to be the case. Because oftentimes they do that and the matchmaker doesn't even get a cut of it. She just has to spend extra time with the client. And there's no acknowledgement that that's what she's doing professionally. Right? So you want to just know, you want to ask those questions and make sure, what does this mean, this coaching that you're offering for this extra, however many thousands of dollars? Many will sell you the dream of having everything you want without having to make any internal changes, because convincing you that your success is contingent on how much you pay benefits their business, not you. So they want to keep getting you up to the premium level, the premium price, and they convince you that you're going to get so much service that it's going to increase your chances because you're paying all of that money. But if they're not focusing on the internal changes that you will have to make in order to get what you want, don't give them all that money. Because if they're not present to that, and if they're afraid to let you know that because they think, oh, as soon as she thinks she's going to have to do work. And I say this basically more to women because there's more women that do it than men, but it's true for men as well. And I don't want to be binary. But statistically, it's single women who are where most of the disparity is, and who are doing this in droves as far as spending a lot of money, for expectations that can't be met. So they'll sell you the dream of having everything you want, but if they're not open about the internal changes and really in that conversation with you and really flat with you that you can't just come in with the attitude you've got thinking that you're buying a man or buying a woman or buying whatever it is that you're wanting to date, whoever you're wanting to date. If they're not flat with you about that, then don't sign on with them. Don't register with them. Very few of them are actually vetting clients for relationship readiness because salespeople don't have that skill. So sometimes they might be able to tell some things with their little bit of experience or whatever. They've had some matchmaking experience, but they don't really have the skill to know if you're someone who needs to be seeing a therapist. Unless it's really dramatic, they don't know the questions to ask. They don't know how to take you through that assessment. They don't know if you're somebody who would really benefit from a coaching curriculum because half of them are just saying the word coaching like it's just something, it's just advice people give. And they don't really even have a clear idea on what coaching is. So they don't know to be able to tell you, you need coaching around this. You need an actual structure. You need a breakthrough. You need hands-on instruction for how you can cause your own breakthrough. So a high integrity matchmaker has core values that just won't allow them to take you on just because you can pay the 5 or 6 figure price tag. If they're high integrity, and there are some that are out there, and I do have them on my partnership list, my referral list, because we're partnering. They refer to me, I refer to them. So a high integrity matchmaker, their core values won't let them just say, okay, we're going to take you because you can pay it. Right? And they don't just say that as lip service. Like they are willing to tell you, go get some coaching. The good ones will say, go to Candace. Here's her number. Get some coaching first, and then come back and we'll do a matchmaking package with you. Or go get some therapy. They may not say it in those exact words, but they might say, it seems as though emotional support is required here. Like they will find some compassionate way to let you know that you aren't going to be ready for this process and you're not going to be able to be successful with this process if you think that you're just going to give us all this money and you're going to get exactly what you want. Like if that's the transaction that they are setting up for you, please, 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 my loves, do not give in to that. You want to work with a matchmaking company that's very transparent, that it is a journey and a process, and that it will require your internal change. And so back to the set of core values, ask them what their company core values are. Ask them if you're talking to your matchmaker directly, your possible matchmaker, ask her what her personal core values are. Make sure that they understand core value alignment and being what's important to them. So transparency for me is a big one, right? As a coach, that is one of my business's core values, transparency. You will always know exactly what is on my mind. I will always share with you where I think things are at as far as our coaching working relationship. I have no reason to pull the wool over your eyes and there are ways that the relationship could be manipulated, but it doesn't serve any of us in the end. So the reason transparency is one of my company's core values is because it's necessary in order to have that basis of trust for both of our growth, because I continue to grow as a coach and a hypnotherapist and you continue to grow as a client. And so a lot of times, like I said, with the matchmaking industry, they will sell you a bill of goods about what is possible for your process because they want to get that money. So you want to ask all the questions that would require things like transparency, that would require integrity and word keeping, right? You want to make sure that they're listening to you, that they hear you, that they're compassionate about who you are, where you are, and will tell you things flatly and honestly. So some salespeople are really good at sounding really authentic, but if you really take the time to listen to them, if you really ask them the hard questions, and you're not afraid to continually ask them the hard questions, because a good salesperson who is of integrity loves your questions. And one that's not, they're going to have a threshold for how many questions you can ask, for how far you can go with what you want to know. Ask them about their vetting process. Ask them if they're actually doing background checks. Ask them what it entails. Tell them until you know you're not going to give them your money. You're entitled to know those things. Those are questions that you can ask, and not a lot of companies are very transparent with that. So you just want to make sure that you're asking all of those questions. And there's some things that they might say, oh, well, we can't tell you that because of whatever. Go with your gut on that, right? So a good matchmaking company will make it very clear the terms of the contract, and they will be clear with you that there is no way out of the contract. It is very rare that they want to give you your money back. So you should know that going in, that your disappointment with your matches is not an out clause in your contract. If you're disappointed because you're in a mindset that disappointment is a thing, and that's the way you're approaching it, you lose out, because you're going to keep being disappointed with that mindset, and you're not going to get your money back. And you should be aware of that. So if you're not going in knowing that you can go without expectation and really just enjoy the journey and make the most of it, then just know you're not getting your money back if you cannot do that. So you want to make sure that even when you're vetting, that you talk to them about that, like the outs in the contract, like what is built in, what is possible. You want to be so clear about what their money back rules are, what their terms and conditions are. Don't give them that kind of money without, and it's amazing how many people do. And I think that just comes from being desperate, feeling desperate for that partner, really wanting love. It's, we tend to overlook things. It's like, when I buy my iPhone, I rarely read the terms and conditions on the Apple thing. Who knows? Apple could have full ownership of my whole life. But because I want an iPhone and I'm emotionally invested in having that iPhone, I just go ahead and do it. It's Apple. I trust. They're a big company. I'm not reading terms and conditions. Let me just go ahead and upgrade. So, this is your love life, right? And if you're not ready health-wise, you don't want to get yourself locked into a contract where you're not ready health-wise and you're out the money and you're not getting what you expect because you weren't ready health-wise. And then that one of my most successful clients, coaching clients, started out, going through a crappy matchmaking process, and then we worked together, and she's now in a much, much better place. I like to get you before you hire your matchmaker. I like to get you before then, because then you're going to have a really great matchmaking experience, and I can help you find great matchmakers, because there's a few out there that I work with, and they're the only ones that I would recommend. So, yeah, I think that's it. What did I want to say? Just let me double check my notes. So the part about making it clear that there's no way out of the contract, there was a note that I wrote down, which is helpful in the sense that most people who want to hire a matchmaker have to learn the hard lesson that expectation leads to disappointment. That's true. However, when you figure that many of these self-proclaimed luxury services have a much higher percentage of regular dudes than dreamy, rich, wealthy men who are emotionally available. So when you factor that in, that's a hard lesson to learn when you haven't done your own work, your own healing work, right? And you had all the hope and expectation going in. And that's it, everybody. That is it. And so my big takeaway, beyond just work with me before you hire a matchmaker, work with a good coach that will help you tap into your inner knowing, into your, your healing. You're healing yourself, loving yourself unconditionally, and being able to start over. Make sure you're in therapy, that you're doing the things that you need to be doing, because if you've been single for a long time, there is some emotional stuff there. And it may not be deep-seated horrific trauma, or it may be. It could be on any level. And on any level, we are all human. We all need support. We all need help. I'm someone who supports others, and I also get support from myself. And I wouldn't be in a loving relationship right now if it weren't for the support that I allowed in my life and my willingness to stay the course with supporting others. We are community oriented as human beings. It's very, very important. Just do not let anybody out there sell you a bill of goods around your love life. Do not let anybody take your money with promises and the belief that you're just going to get what you expect without doing anything but paying that money. If there's nothing else you take away from that, please take that. Anyway, I love you so much. Before we go, did you suffer a breakup last year? Are you in the midst of relationship breakdown right now? You're ready to go from heartbroken to wholehearted? And when I say ready, I mean you're at a 7 to 10. It's do or die alone. I have a program right now, Heartbroken to Wholehearted, and it's a combination of coaching and hypnotherapy. So if you want to find out about it, if you are ready to make an emotional and financial investment for your freedom, your physical wellness, and how you experience your love life, email me Candace at CandaceHarperLoveCoach.com and ask for my exclusive consultation link. Another way that you can, make a very, very small financial investment is by coming to a workshop that I'm teaching on Monday, February 5th, 2022. I'm giving the date because when I'm recording this is before then. And if you hear this after then, just know all through the month of February in 2022, every Monday evening, I am hosting and facilitating workshops. The first one is going to be Heartbroken to Wholehearted, then the relationship inventory, and then I'm doing conflict resolution, and then who am I at my core, that core value stuff I was talking about. How do I find out who I am and get aligned with it? We're going to be doing that on the fourth Monday in February. So whenever you're hearing this, even if you're hearing this after February, I'll be teaching workshops all the time. So be on the lookout. I'm going to be on a platform called getclatch.com. It's called Clatch, like coffee clatch. But it's getclatch.com/product/heartbroken to wholehearted steps of the process. That's the link to go to if you want to attend one of my classes. I will also have that link on my LinkedIn page if you follow me, on my Instagram and my TikTok. I think I can add that link somewhere. I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, follow me at Candy Love Coach on Instagram, on TikTok. And wherever you follow me, if you need that link, send me a message, especially if you want to attend on Monday night. The ticket's only $39. If you reach out to me, I'll give you a promo code for $5. And actually, you can use the LinkedIn one, LinkedIn 5. If you use LinkedIn 5 as a promo code, you'll get $5 off the price of the ticket. Anyway, this hour has gone by so fast. I love you so much, my sweetheart. Until next time, never forget that you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and then ask for candy. I love you so much. Bye now. Mwah, mwah, mwah.